这个赛季的第2次川渝大战，我们会像第1场一样，尽可能拿下这场比赛。圣强哥线上会打得比较凶，然后他们打野的话，就是也是比较强势的那种入侵型打野，我会叫我们打野来抓他。
Interesting that they're focusing in on the jungle right there. I felt like a lot of that first game was them focusing around specifically themselves and Icon in the mid lane, you know, like feeding him a lot to get him snowballing. But that seems to be like the, you know, the recurring problem with them lately is like Icon will get ahead kind of regardless of what the team does, and then they just can't win anyways.
I mean, you got a solo kill in lane, right? So that's not necessarily the focus towards him.
The team was behind him, they were giving them moral support, and they were just like, get him, Icon. He was like, you got it, coach. And then he went in there and got the solo kill.
But after the kill, he did go with the rest of the team around the map. So they did navigate with him. And that's interesting that they do point out, or that Xiang does point out, that they're going to focus towards the jungle position, because that does make sense to me if you're thinking strategically how you're going to play against Snake. But SOFM hardly existed through the early game, and I can credit some of that to OMG for mapping him out nicely. You know, having a Trundle against a Camille, you can find him fairly successfully. The pillar is a safe thing to throw down if you ever see him as well. So SOFM doesn't have a massive impact, but he wasn't an invade jungler this game, that's for certain. He was just playing on his own side of the map, and that's actually rare for SOFM.
Trying to read what the signs SO4KM?
Don't know. I mean, that's what it said.
Yeah.
But I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I was trying to decipher it. Something kilometers per hour? I don't know. He wasn't going very fast in that game.
Schalke.
Yes, Schalke, no fear. Kilometers. Yeah, OMG with their 9-segment hot pot strategy was good up until a point until they bumped into something way too spicy. And then they were like, I need to go for a bathroom break.
Yeah, I mean, it was spicy because they didn't set themselves up for late game success. They were trying to win the game in the mid game. Snake were able to hold on, grasp at straws for as long as possible until they got to late game, and then they found themselves. It was one big play, however, that really defined the entirety of that game. The Rise ultimate on the back of OMG trying to start the Baron. But it wasn't your conventional Baron take. OMG could look at that one, hit the drawing board, and come up with a multitude of ways to perhaps do it better.
Yeah.
You know, before starting the Baron, go for a pick. Your composition very good at getting picks, so perhaps you could do that through the vision control that you had, because they were in a point where they might have had the lead. They might have actually won the game if they got that Baron.
I mean, probably, yeah. I mean, that was essentially the Baron that was going to end it for either team. You're absolutely right on that one, because OMG definitely needed that to break open the base since they didn't have range. They only had melee champions, so they actually needed a Baron to be able to crack open the base.
Sorry.
That's right, Rusty. You know, sometimes we all get caught off guard. It just happens. You know, there you go. I'm just also thinking about the 9 compartments. I don't know whether they need more compartments. Because I was thinking what games...
No,
you know,
they don't
like
need more
tic-tac-toe. But then if they had more, they could play Connect 4. And, you know, I feel like they need to connect all of the 4. Because right now they're connecting like 1, and that's Icon. And then the rest is just not being connected.
If we're gonna follow this analogy, they do not need more compartments than they currently have.
They need less compartments.
One compartment.
One good compartment.
And they need it to be so good that teams need to not know how to deal with it, right? They need to be able to refine a strategy, basically, is what I'm saying, to the point where they can win games.
Yeah.
Because a wish-wash of strategies that aren't as refined as the one good one not going to be successful. Remember, they're a 6th place team in their conference. That's not a very high place in the standings.
No, it's not. There's 7 teams in
Their
the conference.
win record is horrible right now, and they are currently, they've won 1 of their last 6 sets. So OMG, and that was against WE, so don't take too much from that one. Basically, it's a giant loss streak. For OMG, they really need to find something, they need to settle on something. I think Icon having Assassins is good, but I really don't know why they go to the extra efforts of having a Gragas Yasuo in that bottom lane alongside it. I think you keep the Assassins in the mid lane. I think you remove the Assassins or the Bruisers from the bottom lane, and you give an AD carry. Shanshampi's the Ashe guy.
You know, and once upon a time, we said that OMG could indeed be the dark horse, you know, of the conference. Perhaps they can make a big swing. They started to win some games. You know, at once upon a time, they were actually winning. They got 5 wins on the board. But then we quickly took that mantle away from them. So
I really don't know what's happened, man.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It seems like Icon, you know, he has his pop-off moments. Like, he'll still make the highlight reel. He'll still get the montage plays, but then everything else behind it, you know, it's not really a win. It's just him making the big plays, and that's kind of it. Kindred, Aatrox and Time Catch going to be the bans here. OMG, Rakan, Zoe, and Talia, the bans from Snake. Will be a first pick of the Cow, the Alistair, the Minotaur,
Now, Na is the one ban that was there last game that is not going to be in this one, so we'll see where OMG put any focus towards. I don't think it's the worst choice to go for an early Na. It's not a whole lot that beats it in lanes. You can get your crazy counters if you'd like, but for the most part, OMG, they were the ones who banned it. So now the ball's in Snake's court as to what they would like to pick, and I'm curious to see where they go. Flandre does love himself some counter picks in the top lane. He does love himself some carry champions. He just had the Rise in game number 1. OMG prefer tanks when Xiang is playing. He's actually the Maokai Nautilus Ornn guy that you'd always expect to see in the top lane.
That's true. Oh, Flandre, in fact, played the Akali the other day, so he could pick up this game if he wanted to. Get a bit of revenge. I know that Akali was visiting his lane a lot in the early game, so to get a little bit back might be a little bit fun for him. OMG, of course, on red are going to find themselves Swain. Again, to the Swain game. The other goes into the bottom lane, the top lane, the mid lane.
Swain's a good choice. Usually by going towards the bottom lane Swain, it unlocks some physical damage in either mid or top lane. So the potential's still there for a Swain Yasuo type of composition. But it'd be Icon on the Yasuo and Shunshrunk on the Swain. Yeah. And then you could get a more conventional top lane. I think overall that composition is already better. As the Swain exists. A ranged champion, a poke champion, someone that can just add more depth to the team composition. And Swain goes very well with Trundle. Usually something that you'll often see.
It's true. Give them a very easy way to find the pull. Is a bot lane Swain a Bane? Maybe.
Blaine. Let's go Blaine.
Yeah, but it doesn't sound as cool. We'll have cooler connotations.
That's a magician, bro.
That's true. I don't know if he's more of a magician than he is a guy, scary guy with mask, but I guess he doesn't really have a mask in this game, does he? Snake are going to pick up Camille. Also Rise. Again, high priority on that pick. Saw it last time from Sanke.
Yeah, I mean, one of the few teams with flexibility on the pick, and it's one of the champions that Flandre would pick into Na. So, always possible to have that in the first 3, keep it as a flex, and try and block the Na pick in its entirety. That's just, there you go, they've remedied their issues.
A straight misfortune. Yeah, you were asking for an AD carry last game. I mean, I was actually hoping for something like a Varus, especially if it's on here. If you try and make a Baron play, you've got a bit of shred coming in from the Blade of the Ruin King. But
that is the team fight,
This is going to be lethality. This is going to be absolutely a team fight because the bullet time will be coming through.
Makes me wonder, however, if that Swain will be going towards the top lane into the hands of Xiang. Couple of top lane bans still to be seen here by OMG. Icon doesn't strike me as a prolific Swain type of player.
Not really,
the rest of this composition, I'm still considering something like the Yasuo for that mid lane.
I think it might be Akali again, to be honest. Na's going to be banned away again here, but on second phase, Mundo as well. You're talking about the tanks towards the top lane there from Xiang. He's definitely the guy. I could actually see Xiang playing Swain in this game. It's actually more likely, in my opinion, that Icon would play Misfortune mid than it is for him to pick up Swain.
Yeah, like, neither of those things are likely, but I think in that context...
Yeah, if you were comparing the two, it definitely would be a thing.
Expect a Cho'Gath ban here from Snake to deny the other big top laner. Someone that does damage whilst being a tank is what they really wanted to deny in that regard.
He attacks, but he also protects.
With the Gnar and the Sejuani gone.
He also feasts.
Sejuani, a big engage tool. That actually is speculation thrown early here that SOFM will not be on the Camille.
I mean, Flandre is in the game, so it's a fair shout to say that Camille could go to the top lane. There you go. Sick prediction on the Cho'Gath ban right there towards Xiang. And OMG, they're going to find themselves. I mean, we need something to go alongside the Misfortune in the bottom lane. And if
Morgana is probably the best option.
Morgana seems pretty good. I mean, like, the double push is really nice. Place down the soil, put some bullets on top of it, and then you've got a very easy clear in the bottom side.
It's also very hard to gank with the spell shield up. Of course, level 2 ganks, your one real access or entry point to the bottom lane if they do put Camille into the jungle role. With Morgana, Misfortune, you mentioned the push. They've got a lot of kill threat definitely as well if a binding hits. But past that, the spell shield means it's very hard to gank them. So you have Jekko playing around the bottom side with the Trundle, and suddenly OMG, they've got more than just a winning lane. That's a winning position on the map that can snowball to an entire map victory.
Yeah.
I like that from OMG in their draft.
Kai'Sa comes forwards. And it's also going to be a Galio, so that also didn't get banned right here. Remember, that was actually the ban last time in game 1 we saw from OMG.
And they can play it.
And they've got the combo. They've got the Camille and the Galio coming in.
He knows he's into a Galio, so let me tell you, if that was a Zed, I'd be very curious to see what he was going to do.
Of all the times to pick up a Zed. now is not the time to use it, I guess is the words of Professor Oak. And hang on, that's an Ornn.
He's Swain.
My god. No, it's more likely, as we said, to be in the Misfortune. Wow, actually going for the Swain.
Icon can play conventional things. That's just
He
not
can.
often
It's
seen.
just, yeah.
He has his preferences.
Yeah.
But now that he's looking at a Galio, and they had the flex saved until the last pick, he chooses to go towards the Swain, and that's one of those bruises. You'll get a lot of your never moves off. You'll hit level 6, presumably with max stacks as well. Swain has got his place into Camille as a strength, and they choose to put a tank in the top lane against the Rise. That's the other thing they choose to do there as well. On a comfort champion for Xiang. With the Mundo and the Cho'Gath gone, they'll put him on the big engage tool for the team again. You've got a Morgana that can follow up on the Ornn start of the team fights as well with that long range. Then you've got a Misfortune just raining down bullets on everyone through that entire wombo that can come out and come across.
Now, actually, the thing I really like about Misfortune when she's paired with the Morgana is the Black Shield just solves a lot of problems. I mean, one of the biggest issues with bullet time is it's very easily interrupted. Literally, like, anything will interrupt it. I remember watching a lot of games where Cho'Gath would just walk up and scream at her, and she's like, oh, I guess I'll just stop bullet timing. And then it's just like your team fight's gone. So Black Shield by itself means that you have to at least use 2 pieces of abilities to stop it from bullet timing, and that's very difficult because that thing lasts for 3 seconds, and each second hurts a lot and hurts multiple people.
OMG have picked themselves a strong bottom lane as a result of that, scaling up a bit more in the mid lane and top lane, respectively. I think teleport plays is what you're looking at here from Xiang. Whereas towards the middle lane, he's just going to be trying to bully out his opponent. At the end of the day, it's a Galio, so that's not going to happen. Both of them probably going to be focusing on how they leave the lane or prevent their opponents from doing that. At the end of the day, I would say we continue to keep our eyes peeled on that 2v2 in the bottom lane for OMG. For the side of Snake, that is a Camille Galio. And they've got a scaling Kaiser down in that bottom side, so the whole map, they could go anywhere they choose as long as the Camille and the Galio are going together.
Yeah, top lane, probably not going to be a kill. I think a lot of this, the fact that SOFM has the Camille right here, lends itself to him going to be active on the map early, but Jerka's also got a dueling jungler, so if he finds SOFM, he will be able to actually compete with him. We're about to drive onto the Rift here in Chengdu for potentially our last game of the day. We'll see if OMG can even up in their home arena. IG! Jayo!
This has become a battle. The OMG arena has just become a battle. There's no such thing as order and chance.
It's absolute chaos. I mean, the way it's meant to work, Rusty, is that blue team goes first and red follows.
And I feel like it's always just OMG's arena. They have to go first. And try as they might to compete with the other teams, OMG will go first, and they do. Yeah, see the runes up on your screen. Aftershock to be seen, not a big surprise. Now, Grasp of the Undying for Xiang. He's not going to have a very easy time proccing that one. He may not get a lot of bonus health from it, but he'll try his darndest. There's not really a lot of other good options for him. You could consider Guardian if you're going to be full beta, but he's a Chad.
Nah.
He's a Chad.
Yeah.
And this is the level 2 gank that we mentioned,
What did we say?
SOFM. It's the one time he could come into the bottom lane if he wants.
Ooh,
So,
what the heck? I have no idea what just happened there, and Guoguo doesn't either. He gets completely blocked by those minions.
That is the
and
most
pillar.
dead. So what happened is the pillar allowed Icon to pull him back, and then he flashed into the pillar. He didn't expect to get pulled back, so
But
a
then
bit
he
awkward.
teleported inside of the pillar.
Well, it was the flash, but it was a bit awkward there from Gogo, unfortunately. But of course he has teleport. He's choosing to save that teleport.
But what was confusing, Rusty, is the fact that he flashed on top of the pillar, but I'm pretty sure that thing's meant to bounce you if you jump inside of it. But that didn't happen. He just kind of got stuck, and then he got stuck on the minions too.
It is a very small hitbox.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I'm pretty sure he was dead regardless from the moment the pull came in. Swain Trundle is a gross 2v2 type of gank composition.
That's fair. I'm just saying, like, in that situation, I understood what Guoguo was looking for, to flash over the pillar, and at the very least get bounced to the other side, because that thing acts as normal terrain. So it might have just been a spectator thing, but there was a small chance that Guoguo actually gets out of there. So either way, again, it could have just been on the spectator side, but I know if that was the case, I definitely would have been tilted. Let's take a look at that one more time, though. Jericho was coming in from the top side.
No, he was dead either way.
Yeah, he was probably screwed.
Even if he made it over the cone, he was hit by the never move.
Yeah, and there was 2 new resources being used there by OMG anyways.
Icon saved that spell very smartly, of course. It's good communication from OMG. And whilst SOFM was on the bottom side of the map looking for that gank at level 2, he didn't find it. But every time we look at SOFM, he's waiting patiently. He doesn't even move. He's too busy thinking. You can't think and move at the same time, SOFM. There's too big of a brain.
Yep.
Takes all of his resources.
And he's like a patient bear.
You'd expect Light to actually throw a W into the bush there, potentially.
Waits.
I think a level 2 Kaiser may not have that one available.
Probably not.
Lots
It's also got a very, very, very long cooldown. So taking that 2 kind of feels bad. But level 3, though, which Light is now, probably bet that he's gone for that one. And Icon, you got his first blood of the game, again. But this time he also got assistance from Jericho in the jungle.
Nothing really comes from
0-0.
it, though. I mean, at the end of the day, getting a kill at level 1 on the Galio, you've got a 10 CS lead and a kill, so what you do get is a slight experience advantage for Icon and a gold lead, so that first recall will be a bigger deal. However, for the most part, there's not a major gain really on the map from it, just the mid lane. What you're looking at for that lead to translate into something is if Icon can influence the rest of the map. You've got the experience lead, so you'll hit 6 before Guogua. There's a chance you can make the play before the Camille Galio combo comes online.
Yeah, it's gonna feel. It's gonna feel good. I mean, pretty much because of those timings, right? With Galio and Camille, I'll help out a bunch. And there we go. Take a look at the runes. Going for Comet first, of course, into Scorch. Precision second, Triumph.
Yeah.
Coup de grace.
That is incredibly early game focused, however. He hasn't gone towards the Gathering Storm. Celerity makes a lot of sense. So does Mana Flow Band as Misfortune, who just pegs out spells constantly, but choosing to go towards the Scorch opposed to the Gathering Storm indicates that you want to be poking and harassing with just your E.
Yep.
Make sure that you can hit that every single time. It makes it much more impactful than just the Comet flying at them. It burns and the Comet threatens them. Nice engage.
Really nice out from Udia. It's going to be a flash away there by P, and the return damage from Morgana is big, but it's SOFM coming in from the top side with the hook shot that's going to really seal the deal. Flash out of the way from 5. Follow through with the W there, but Jericho is actually looking for something. Throws up the cone and is actually wants some Alistair right here. One more auto attack will do it, but Hudia flashes away, will still go down to the club. It's a big reach on that one. And Light will survive as Guogo comes down for the kill.
And Guogo actually being the recipient of that kill does wonders, because look at the difference in mid lane right now. He is on struggle street, he comes bottom, at least gets some extra gold for Team Galio in that middle lane.
Heck yeah.
OMG at the end of the day, Trundle does get the kill, but he overexerts himself in an attempt to secure that one. However, he gets it, and that's what matters to him in the end. OMG looking to win through the mid lane mainly, and still having some pressure elsewhere on the rift.
Yeah, Guogo's not having a great time in the old mid lane. Hoping that Icon will come a little bit closer so he could do that combo and the tower would actually hit him, but Icon not going to do that, of course. Icon knows way too well what that champion can do, and he's found himself almost a 30 CS lead at the 6-minute mark, which is, one could say, quite hefty.
And no recall and teleport available for Gorgo either. He has not got items compared to his opponent in the middle lane, which means that OMG can make plays, and Snake definitely cannot. Usually as a mid laner in this situation, you press tab, you see the items, and your next plan is actually just to control and hard push. Because you know full well that in a 2v2 you would win, just because of how far you are ahead over your respective opponents. So ultimately, things looking very good for OMG, where there's a Hex Flash. That's not a real Hex Flash, don't worry.
It was a juke.
He juked me.
He's juking everybody. And even juked himself.
My god, that footwork.
My god, the footwork. Felt like an appropriate follow-up to your call.
Sounds like you're mocking me.
Oh, it was more the fact that you got hit by a binding right after. SOFM is going to get himself a red buff. Wonderful.
Mid 6.
I feel like that might be a thing with accents, you know, because a lot of people say that British people just kind of sound very like stuck up and obnoxious, but that's actually just our accents. Oh, Guo. He's going to just punch his way out, and he's going to be absolutely fine.
Yeah, incredible stuff there from Gorgo. Dodges the first part of the ultimate and dodges away from a Swain and potential Trundle pillars at the same time. So dashes away the safest possible route for him. Has got the flash if it came to it anyway.
Yeah, I don't know what Hudia was looking for right there, because it was definitely a black shield into a binding and all his health. So that feels bad for him, as P will just get a very easy push off in his Misfortune and continue to hit this tower. Light will do his best to farm underneath this one.
He's struggling at the moment, Old Light. He's going to need to...
He is. Write some names in his death note.
He's going to need to be super careful because Jekko was nearby. You can see that Alistar recalled in the bush as well, so wants to just give that extra vision whilst denying it from his opponents. While the CS is still there for the Kaiser, the reason he's struggling is because he doesn't have control of the lane. So sooner or later, it starts to transition into damage onto this turret. And all it takes is that little bit of extra pressure from a Trundle to be near the area, or Icon, who is super far ahead, to be near the area, and suddenly the turret's just gone.
And again, we're at the start of a game where OMG have the lead. SOFM is hunting though on the top side. I mean, Flandre low on mana, and it's an Ornn. So I reckon he's not going to die, but never say never.
May just be looking for the counter, doesn't know where the Trundle is. At the end of the day, it could just be granting Flandre safe passage to recall.
Yeah,
he's going to have to get himself a lot of items, I would imagine, with 90 completed CS and a tier already done. Probably just working towards that catalyst. And then he can start to throw out spells much more rapid fire.
Do it, Skywalker. No.
He's
If
lost
that was LWX, you better know that once that plasma was hitting, he was just in there like swimwear. He'd been so in.
Hey, even LWX has limits, bro.
I don't know if that's the case, Rusty. I've seen him do some pretty crazy things in my time.
That's true.
I still remember him dashing to the back of the team fight at red buff, bottom red buff, into 2 bruises. That he
You can hit that over the wall. Today I learned.
Wow, that's crazy, actually.
I did not know that was fake.
That is some interesting Galio tech. I actually haven't seen a Galio do that before. And now it begs the question,
get him
why?
CS in the mid lane. It still gets him just the blue buff.
Yep.
No pressure, no control over Summoner's Rift, and it also reveals the indirect whereabouts of where SOFM is because he comes back with a blue buff. So.
Oh boy. And there's the power of the Black Shield. Has to use the ultimate to get out of there, but Light is still bleeding out. He'll stop, drop, and roll and get out of this one. But Icon, he's gone into the Ascension and he wants some Galio. He's still following after, looking for the pop right now. There is no protecting this man. He flashes away and now he is in way too deep, way in over his head as the Ornn comes through and finds neither. OMG caught with all of their pants around their ankles.
And Xiang doesn't aim for SOFM with the second part of that ultimate. He was actually looking for Flandre to try and help win the 1v2 they had. SOFM.
Okay, well, I don't really know what to say about that. Apart from that was a straight-up power int.
You win some, you lose some. Sometimes you're SOFM.
Yeah.
He's a blurred line in the middle. Really don't know what to say about that one. Just tarnishes what was a nice little move from the rest of Snake to bring it back for them. What are you doing, man?
That was a Zeta int. I believe that's a very big int.
It was a very big int. Is what we'll call that one.
I want a replay of just that, to be honest.
I would rather
while we're going
that from my memory banks.
Yeah.
Remember that whilst we saw a nice little combo in the bottom lane from MF and Morgana, that Kaiser can also navigate it exceptionally well, just by using her own ult. Can dodge left and right out of it.
Yeah, he was a couple seconds late to that one, though.
Well, he was bound.
Yeah, he was bound.
But it's a late game node, right?
It is.
Think about it in laning phase, definitely Misfortune only uses it when a binding is on, but once you hit later in the game and there's a QSS for the Kaiser, he can 100% reposition himself around the major damage source and try and make some counter plays, because usually that puts him in the backline. Guogo, very caught right now.
Oh, he's not going to get caught on the Justice Punch, though. So he's just going to punch his way out. And SFM's going to be like, oh, I guess I'm not needed. Fantastic. OMG are trying very hard to kill Galio, though. He's not having a great day.
They've almost fully put themselves towards empowering Icon in the game. There's a ward, by the way, spotting this one out. You would expect OMG to come over and defend it, because they are not trading. They want to match them. They want to fight them. They want to prevent them from getting free objectives. Snake, every inch of the map that they fight towards will be contested, ideally, from OMG.
I have a pet peeve, Rusty, and that's people getting hit by Shelly Swipe when they're clearing Herald. And they just stand there and they just take it. It's just like, I don't know what this is meant to be, whether it's meant to be an alpha move saying that you can just take it, but it's just needless damage.
There's a couple of ways you could look at it, right? I agree with you. It's something that irks me quite a lot.
Yep.
They're going to recall anyway, so the damage doesn't matter. But then what if someone comes over? The damage matters, right?
Maybe you die. You took that damage.
Or they just don't. Because, you know what? Shelly's swing is not very indicative of where it's going to land. but you can just go to the other
front of her.
180 degrees of it.
Yeah.
But she turns around, so you know it's not like I'm hitting this area and a circle appears.
Yeah.
You can still avoid it.
Yeah.
Either way.
I mean, you can back away. But,
The other reason is
go
that a
back.
lot of people don't look at their own character most of the time. Like, junglers spend a lot more time looking at other places on the map, checking out health
I mean,
bars.
that's fair, but he was not standing still. He was microing his
I am
character.
giving reasons, not the reason for this case.
That's fair.
As someone who plays a lot of League and has very rarely been hit by a Shelly spell because it's obvious,
Yep.
there are times where you do get hit and you forgive yourself because you weren't
yeah,
looking.
absolutely, yeah. I mean, if there's points of view streams to really help us out. And bot lane, still pushing. Got that Ghost Blade. Chuan P's in a pretty good spot for himself. Of course, he will be looking towards that second item. Nice thing is Misfortune is because you are Misfortune. You have Strut. You don't really need to go for the boots all that early.
There's no need to rush those boots. Ghostblade compensates in the clutch moments regardless.
It does
so
as well, so you're good in both scenarios.
having that
Really.
active helps a lot. Having the item spikes much more significant than getting just the Berserker Greaves. Some champions like the Kaiser need Berserker Greaves, however. But the priority to rush those ones over anything else for Light does delay the first big item spike that he will get. From the looks of it, the Guinsoo's Rage Blade, not the Storm Razor this time around. Light, I would say, sticking closer to the Uzi item build more than the rest of the world. Storm Razor Rush, based off what he currently has. I'm curious to see where he goes with this one, though.
I mean, Storm Razors is the new hotness. Does allow you to get 2 early upgrades.
Most of the time, however, Guinsoo's is picked second after it anyway.
It is.
It's just that Storm
It's the
Razors,
order.
especially on this patch, is cheaper and is an earlier spike that gives both attack speed and AD, which is a rare commodity, and is an absolutely brilliant thing to have as a Kaiser.
Yeah. And Guinsoo's feels good when it's completed, but getting there, not great. And maybe, at the end of the day, Light is just like, you know what? It's absolutely fine, because I'm going to be pushed to my tower anyway.
This is like what we said before, all it takes is a Trundle to appear and they can start getting some big hits on the turret.
True.
Much more meaningful damage to be secured this time, and he can hang around, brings SOFM to him, or forces the trade. Now, I will say that regarding trades, top side of the map is doing wonderfully. Here, Flandre gets himself a sizable CS lead and pressure onto the turret, but it will not be first turret in top lane. It will be the bottom lane
boy.
solo.
I mean, this is the Misfortune dream right here. We see, like, I feel like the early laning phase is so important for a Misfortune because we see this a lot where Misfortune gets picked in the same way that Draven, you know, really wants his early cash in. That if she wins the laning phase, if she gets the first tower, accelerates her to 2 items, and that's where she really starts to pack a punch in team fights. Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
That's going to be bullet time following through, and all of the damage. I mean, this guy could not be more dead.
He doesn't have a stopwatch. The stopwatch was actually used on the backside there by 5 to stay alive as well. So at the end of the day, they'll get the top lane turret, but they'll lose their mid laner. OMG do seem to be consistently one step ahead so far in this game. That is working out favorably for them. Now 2 turrets to 1.
Yeah, there you go. 2 for 1 special. But, Rusty, I have this strange feeling at the back of my head, and it might be my headset, but it might also be the fact that I just feel like OMG won't win this game. Because Icon gets ahead, he always gets ahead, and whether
Alright,
that's an
negative
Icon
Nancy.
play or whether that's, you know, OMG playing around him, might be me being negative, might be superstition, but it might be me watching the last 6 games of OMG and seeing them only win 1, and that was against WE. And this always happens, where they just don't win, even though they are ahead early, and Icon's there as well.
When you consider the first game and how things have changed coming into the second, OMG have shored up a lot of their weaknesses in the draft. They have given themselves a better opportunity in the late game. They've also picked themselves a mage in the mid lane, not just the assassin. So a much more conventional style here from OMG. And they can win games through this style for certain. Snake have not looked very good in their past couple of sets. They have been an absolute mess. However, they still have got team fighting. They still have got late game. And that's where that concern does come into your head here for OMG. Can they keep up with the late game when they have sculpted themselves a front-to-back type of team fight comp against the team that is very good at that, has got a rise for Flandre, has got a good team fighting composition that scales massively. And look at all the crowd control that they've got as well for a Kaiser to proc that passive constantly. Most likely going to be an AP Kaiser at that, actually, now I think about it, just because of all the CC.
Yeah, it could be. Good possibility. I mean, that would also make sense if
Expect the Nash's tooth to
follow first, yeah. In fact, that is actually very likely.
Galio getting multi-man taunts, you know, being a form of CC for Kai's. It's already a stack on
That's
everyone.
true. Yeah.
Ryze guaranteed crowd control. Camille can hit multiple members as well, and Alistar can hit multiple members. Put all of that together.
And that's a hot pot.
I was going to say cake, but hot pot works.
We're in China, Rusty.
That's
Get with the program.
Hot cake.
Oh boy, Xuan P caught in the middle of this one alongside his support. And he's also going to go into the hot pot. He's
Galio
dead.
incoming.
And now OMG coming in one by one into the meat grinder. Jirko has to flash away from the play, but Icon is falling through onto Light. He wants him dead, and he will get him dead. That will be 1 over to the Swain, and no one is focusing this guy out. He's actually just going to go on an absolute rampage. Flandre is going to although he's going to be fine. He's now into the round warp, needs to get out of here. Xiang is not going to be able to chase after, and Flandre, he somehow managed to survive.
Flandre is a magician, but so is Jericho, because Guogor has been chasing him for a very long time. You will see it in the replay, and I can't wait to watch it, because Guogor is just leaving me with some question mark pings. He's a caught man. It's going to take some pure wizardry to survive this one. He may just try and execute instead.
He's going to try. He's somewhat tanky, but there we go. Top tier, and Jericho gets out. He didn't get out alive, but he didn't give over the kill gold. So there you go, 5-4 in the end, and Icon just popped the heck off.
An absolute tragedy at the start of that fight is that 5 did not have his stopwatch as he used it in the mid lane. Now some questions can be brought up on why and how he used it in mid, but nonetheless, he doesn't have it for this. Snako forwards, Binding connects, and Light loses a lot of health to the combo, but 5's just dead. Now watch Guogor, because this is the thing that gets me. Firstly, doesn't taunt Icon, and then flashes over the wall to follow the Trundle. Like, what are you doing, man? Look at the rest of your team, and then just goes on his merry way. Continues to chase the Trundle across the map. Yeah. Flandre, thankfully, is an absolute genius in League of Legends. Gets his passive up and ults himself out. Would have died to minions if he did none of that.
Yeah, it's true.
And just before the auto came out, he's able to get himself to safety.
I thought he was dead to those cats minions.
Yeah, so thankfully for Flandre, thankfully for Snake, they're able to get their way out through some weaseling and some good mechanical play. But decision-making wise, Guogor does leave me with some serious questions.
Yeah. And it was also the fact that he just full committed. You know, he just didn't look behind him.
That's the signs of a desperate man who needs gold one way or another, and he's choosing that gold over the team fight.
The guy's a pauper at this point in time. He's quite far behind the Swain.
Cockles, seashells, clams.
Yeah, he's trying to sell anything he can, but he's not an assassin. He's unfortunately just a Galio. He's well dressed though, definitely a Galio.
He is well dressed.
You're gonna have to sell those clothes at the end of this game.
Whoa. Binding.
That actually interrupted him. The pillar comes through. SOFM's got the adaptive defense up, but yeah, adapt to this ultimate, says Xuan P, and that's going to be a bullet time picking up the kill.
Lots of crowd control can be just pegged towards him and absolutely clapped by the pillar this time around. So well done from the side of OMG. They find it mid-game this time around. Compared to the last one, it felt like there was no real sound strategic options for them. They're able to play around the Morgana. They're able to play around Jericho on this Trundle as well, and suddenly the kill grants them an objective.
Exciting 1v1 battle between Jericho and the Dragon. More exciting battle between Flandre and the Krugs. Now back over to Jericho and the Dragon.
This decision, you know, to solo a Cloud Dragon. 90% of the time you look at that player and you're like, what are you thinking, right? Because the Cloud Dragon does so much damage, provides you the single Cloud Dragon buff, but in this case, the reason that it's fine is that firstly he's a Trundle, so when he kills it, his passive gives him like 600 health back.
Yeah, which is lovely.
And secondly, it's also their second Cloud Drake. So there's actually a lot of value in taking that one down this time around, especially just because their SLFM was dead. He knows there's not going to be a smite battle and knew that area of the map was clear.
Yep. Totally fine. Now double Cloud Dragons really starts to stack up. I mean, look how fast that Swain's running.
It's going to be really dangerous actually when he's got that ult pop. Speed races towards you.
There's no real getting away. So now Light's got to contend with, you've got to contend with Misfortune, and you've got to contend with a Swain who's rushing towards you at light speed.
And Misfortune's also gone towards the Berserker Greaves. So I would expect the Storm Razor as the third item. He wants to go 2 items of lethality into the regular on-hit type of crit Misfortune, perhaps.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm expecting him to go. I believe that in the current patch that we are on, it is the long swords that build out of it, not double daggers now. The build path has in fact changed. So
indeed.
That's what I'm expecting to see. We'll see. He may go Edge of Night, for all we know.
Yeah. He's probably got all the cooldown reduction he needs anyways. Otherwise, you'd have to go through Lucidity, especially with going Edge of Night.
20% CDR. From memory, he definitely doesn't have... No, he doesn't have the CDR from the Sorcery Tree either.
Oh, that's
so
true,
he's
yeah.
only at 20% CDR.
Yeah. They could have gone Lucidity right there.
Yeah.
But again, you might be right. He might be going for a third lethality item.
Flandre is starting to really heat up in this game. And there's only a limited amount of stuff that Xiang can do. Now, I will say they're trading on the opposite side, but this Rise, the reason that I bring him up, firstly, it's a 70 CS lead that is only going to continue to build as he bullies out Xiang. And if he is going to continue to bully out Xiang, they'd have to send Icon to him. And then I feel like Flandre can take that battle. The Rise has so much mobility and he's built so tanky. And he's just scaling up in terms of mana that he's got. I think he can 1v1 anybody on the map right now.
He really could. I mean, this is just, you know, Flandre having a much better game than the first. And I think he wasn't even having a bad game in the first. It was just the nature of the game, really, for him. But, yeah, this time on the Rise, he's just progressively getting further and further ahead. And it feels like we've spent a lot of the last, like, 10 minutes while these teams have been, you know, walking back and forth, just talking about how strong this player is going to be and how strong this player is going to be.
It's all scaling, that's the thing.
But, you know, someone's got to win at the end, right? Like, Rise is big, Swain is big, Misfortune's big, Kai'Sa's going to be big too.
The first thing to consider is that Misfortune is lethality. So she's got a strong mid-game, and if you're transitioning a lethality build into a late-game crit build, that's not going to be as strong as just building crit. You have to actually take a bit of extra ramp time. It's going to be 4 items before you have an efficient crit build, opposed to the strong lethality that you have now. So for OMG, oh boy, they're strong at 4 items, they're strong at 2 items, and they've got the 2 items. So there's a chance they make plays now. But for Snake, they're strong at 2, 3, and 4 respectively. So they've actually got a pretty sizable window, roughly 5 to 10 minutes, where they can start to make those plays around having the 3rd item.
Let's see, Icon. Ah, Blue Buff's having a bad vacation. He's going to get himself a Blue Buff. A little bit hidden by his cloak right there. Light's going to be farming up this mid wave.
He's cozy now.
Now, he's actually gone for the Renowned Hurricane second. Snapping to bait Magic Mantle.
The crit build's the way to go.
It is indeed.
It'll most likely be a QSS, however, picked up before he finishes any other item. As he kind of wants that one against the Morgana, like we saw in the bottom lane, the potential that they have to kill him
caught in
is
that, you're dead.
Incredibly high.
100%. Now, what's Hudia to do really in that situation? Five has completed his Zhonya's Hourglass, so he's feeling pretty good. Swan P has confirmed our suspicions.
That is the biggest Zhonya's Hourglass rush as well, though. We have seen some different Morgana builds here and there. You know, the Shirelia's Reverie is one that you can consider. This time around, he is engaging Light.
Oh boy, instant flash from Light and still almost died. Oh, almost caught by the claw right there. Respect it from Icon.
You respect it, but the miscalculations mean that Icon no longer has the flash, so it's very hard to assassinate people with the ult burst. End of the day, OMG, they have got control of the map, however, and through that map control, they're able to try and bring Snake towards them. If they bring Snake towards them at the Baron area, then it doesn't matter if Icon has flash or not, which is why I'm okay with the decision, and I do respect it.
Ooh. Yeah, almost getting caught right there, but yeah, a little bit unlucky in the end because, you know, if they did make that Baron play, then fantastic, but it really was the linchpin there being the kill onto Light.
Never-ending battle.
And one person does a lot of damage and the other person doesn't take a lot of damage, so it will be a very slow death here for the Ornn, but it does give time for OMG to come into the bottom lane, and that's going to be the Ornn getting the knock-up, but Light in this 2 versus 2, that's going to heavily weight it over to Snake. Now Icon, 1 versus 3 right here, make it 1 versus 4, but here comes Swan P, waiting for that bullet time to come through. Where's the perfect opportunity? Because Jericho looking for that CC, and they're trying to get out here, but Flandre cancelled out with a round warp right there, and Hudia also caught up in the meat grinder. It's going to be 2 kills to OMG.
Snake try and make the plays, but they don't have SOFM even close to the rest of the team. He is pushing the middle lane right now. It was meant to just be an assassination attempt, but Icon gets in very quickly, and he is so hard to take down with or without that flash that suddenly OMG, they've got enough time for the cavalry to arrive, and they are able to defuse, disengage, and actually best their opponents. Now, the Righteous Glory Rise is very hard to get away from you. Xiang does, I believe, flash over the wall here, and that W, unfortunately, from Light misses. So he gets in, Xiang gets out, Icon just going to kite his way around. He's still got the stopwatch available, so he's going to turn golden and have a pretty good time at the end of this. No problems whatsoever. Now Flandre oversteps. Hudia tries too hard to get in. They should have been disengaging probably 5 seconds ago. So honestly, once the moment Icon was in, they should have been out.
I feel like the big miscalculation was the Zhonya's Hourglass, obviously, on Icon, because they were trying to find the burst down, but Icon, literally the damage coming in so slowly, and the fact he was healing at the same time, it's just like, alright, well, I'll drop to 20%, hit the Zhonya's, and then it was an easy turnaround for the rest of OMG. So, yeah, with that in mind, you're absolutely right. It should have been a disengagement before that. It also felt like Snake was just like, it's fine, we've got the round walk to get out, but clutch pillar coming in fact, traffic going out from Jirko was actually what managed to stop it in the end. So that's a nice 2 kills over to OMG, gives them control over the bottom side. Also gives them control over the Baron, which means they have the Vision Trap, which they can use to take down Huria. He is very tanky in his ultimate form, but he will eventually go down.
Yeah, no real way out for him once the pillar was on. Of course, not having that flash means that he is just dead to rights. Now OMG, they get the pick. They are looking towards the Baron. This is much better from them in Game 2 than it is Game 1. This Baron, however, can Snake get in? Because they will come over. They will try and contest it. They know it's being done. They don't know the two are in the bush till now. Yeah,
the Swain heads back towards the team, and in fact the entirety of Snake is split up. Great pillar once again, but that's going to be a massive knockup coming from Guoguo. The 4-man taunt as well. Light will fall, however, and SOFM is into the backline. He's going to assassinate Jirko, barely, but still managed to take him. No, Jirko is still alive. Actually got all his health back from his passive right there, and Guoguo flashes the wall. Yet another win coming in from OMG.
But Snake do save the day by making sure the Baron stays alive. That's the big takeaway that you have to have from this one. It was a 2-for-1 trade, so in the end, OMG still feeling good about the result. But Snake held the game. The goal difference is only 2,000, and Flandre is creeping ever closer to that Void Staff. And if you ever wanted a win condition, it's that Void Staff being done for the Rise. And you might see the replays of this one. Flandre's positioning is still perfect. And he is playing out of his mind right now as the top laner of Snake, trying to get them over the line as constantly. It is not an easy job to be Light right now.
It's really not. I mean, it looked good coming in from Snake. I mean, that massive knockup coming out of Guoguo was obviously a game changer. And if Light was able to survive just a little bit longer, you know, he would have been able to play that front to back. But you're right, it was just so many different like cones and circles. There were a lot of damage coming in from OMG. It was very hard for Light to get out of. Fortunately.
Yeah, definitely. And Guoguo, you're right, did have a very good fight hitting all of the targets, especially with the taunt after the ultimate. Making sure that they could maximize the damage coming out of Light just before he died. But he was already low health before it started. These are the things that need to actually be considered, right? If you want to deal damage in a team fight, win it successfully in the way of physical damage, Light can't afford to be at 10% health before a fight starts. Otherwise, he is just destined to die, even with all the CC that is flying around.
And again, we find ourselves at equilibrium. OMG have a 2,000 gold advantage.
It's actually the Gangplank build, now that I think about it, for Misfortune. That is pretty much the build. You know, Trinity Force, of course, out of the equation.
Yeah.
Usually Stormrazor is the build after a Ghost Blade. Usually, what I mean by this as well is it's the one-tap style. Gangplank getting a guaranteed crit off means that the kegs are very easy to play around and work with. Misfortune will most likely just be swapping targets all the time, otherwise using the ult.
Yep, that's fair. I guess you'd also see a Sterix in there as well.
I'd expect Guardian Angel. Sterix can't be built on range anymore.
No, it can't. But I'm talking about the Gangplank build.
Gangplank build, yeah, that's the Sterix. Guardian Angel is the compensation.
Yes, yeah.
It's the AD version of it. After that, probably the last Whisper.
Indeed. Oh, Xiang potentially found something onto Flandre.
Well
he's going to get pulled, but there's the ultimate coming down actually from the Galio. Going to save him for a split second. He will still die to the bullet storm coming in from Chuan P. And they just can't get into this fight around now, Snake. A double kill over to Misfortune. A triple kill to Chuan P.
And even with all of the free hitting here from Snake, they're not able to take apart their opponents. Now SOFM, just the desperation steal is what you're looking at. Because OMG are running over their opponents, constantly fight after fight. The gold lead stretching in their favor. Baron started, SOFM, you can see how deep he is into enemy lines, and Xiang's just going to try and play goalie, but they don't know where he is.
Yep, Xiang is definitely the goalkeeper between the posts right now.
He's not going to get in.
SOFM decides otherwise. Jirko was low though, and there was an opportunity. In fact, you could even drive by still if you wanted to on that Camille, but it's just going to be that single Baron over to OMG, and it all starts off with Xiang.
Once again, Flandre finds himself caught out of position. Someone from OMG finds a pick. With the ability to find that on the Ornn, things look much better from OMG overall. Light free hitting, but that's not actually a safe position to be free hitting from. He starts to suddenly just die instantly to the death ball composition.
And OMG, with this Baron, this is the big change from that first game, Rusty.
I mean, this should actually just be game over with the Baron buff, really.
I mean, this is us rewriting history right here. You know, in that first game, OMG didn't manage to secure the Baron. The second time around, it was actually well executed. They got their pick, and they managed to get the Baron too. And now cracking open the mid lane, they're going to be happy with this haul. We'll back away and actually move towards the bottom lane. The minion wave is set up, the Swain is already there, ready to receive OMG as they come in and see if they can find themselves a second inhibitor.
Look at ourselves a fancy new inhibitor.
We do indeed,
as well,
yeah,
just below Snake's name, you can see it as OMG. Now pushing towards their second one. Snake have to fight at some stage, but the question is where, because I really don't think they can afford to fight for any of these inhibs, especially with Flandre side laning.
Oh, they're going to go straight for the fight here, immediately onto the Alistair, but they're managing to hold their ground. In fact, all of Snake are back up. Udia's going to die right here, but Flandre still hits very hard. Minion wave coming in, this is double cannons. Oh, they've found Flandre once again. Land the Gallo ultimate on top of him, gives him the damage reduction, and the bullet time goes right down the middle. This is a chance for Snake to come back into this one as SOFM jumps back to the small rock in the base. Oh, Light has to kite back on this one. Icon finds the kill. He's going to get taunted up, but he's still alive. The Fountain Laser still not enough to take him down. Flandre assassinating this minion wave as it comes in, but they've still got minions themselves. A flash forwards from 5. Icon almost getting taken out there by SOFM, but he still had his Zhonya's. Gets knocked back towards him. Xiang still with the CC, and OMG, I think they've done it. They're going to send Guoguo packing. They're onto the Nexus, and OMG are going to send us to game 3.
OMG find the big team fights, and they do find an advantage that will end the game. Unlike game number 1, OMG, they find the success. They draft themselves a much better composition. They're able to end that game out very cleanly in the end. Inhib after inhib, Snake try and fight, but they can't actually get past an Ornn ultimate. They can't get through the tankiness of OMG's composition. Misfortune just free firing, no one able to stop it.
And the setup was there from the start of the game. Misfortune got big out of the laning phase, got the first tower gold, also over to a spike towards that second lethality item. Then we stalled for a little bit, talking about the rise being huge. Flandre, of course, standing and delivering a large sum of damage once again in this second game. But unfortunately, it just wasn't enough. And I feel like Light just had a very bad day. There was just too much for him to think about in a team fight. That ultimately led to OMG's victory.
I mean, there was no free access to a team fight. You can go next to the Misfortune if you want, but then you're standing next to a Morgana, you're standing next to a Swain, you're standing next to 4 people that will immediately kill you. So, not an easy job to be a Kaiser in this composition, but at the same time, the Kaiser left a lot to be desired, not having the best experience overall on Summoner's Rift. And it's not his fault in its entirety. There are a couple of unfortunate things happening across the entire team. Udia having a very rough game individually. Caught out of position, trying to combo people that have spell shields on them, just to name a couple of things that happened.
Yeah, fair. I mean, Hudia had a very good game 1, and in the second game, I think I would also talk about Guoguo a lot. You know, I think about the top lane play where he just went off on a mission.
I mean, that was definitely a big...
Yeah, that was a big problem. So if we are looking at individuals, I think there is also something to be said about Guoguo. Hudia at the same time. Flandre also getting caught out of position a couple times, but of course you had the Galio on top of him. And also, he just become relatively tanky. You give him the damage reduction and shielding, and the fact he already naturally has a lot of HP. You know, he is kind of the guy you actually want to be in that situation, and you can throw the Galio on top of him.
Yeah, he was also building tanky, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly. So it's fine if he's on the front line. But yeah, that was the issue in the end. But OMG, again, I said it during the game, I felt they were really just rewriting history out of that first game. We were looking around the Baron play. This time they actually get their pick. That was the major problem. And then secondary, they just had a really good setup to Baron itself. Yep. And they actually learned from the mistakes in game 1.
And so much of this was a draft difference for certain. You know, it wasn't a Gragas Yasuo in the bottom lane. They picked Misfortune Morgana. They corrected a lot of the draft problems that they did seem to suffer from that couldn't help them close the games out when they had a lead. And even surprisingly, going towards that Swain in the middle lane for Icon. He does love his assassins, but they veer him away from that choice. Just to opt towards Xiang, of course, having a much more standard pick of the Ornn. And even Xiang on the same champion did look a lot better in that game number 2.
He did indeed, and I think that at the end of the day, it's fun to watch, you know, Icon on these assassins. I think that he'll just 100% of the time always get ahead. It's just what you can do afterwards, right? And I think that like the Swain really did fit into the composition. He's able to do a lot of work. You see him just walking forward right here, and even though the Swain does, or the Galio does a great job, you know, the misfortune is raining down hell from the back lines, and the front line is just not going to die because they actually heal themselves as well as being tanky. So it's just like, it's just a great team fight coming out from OMG at the end.
Yeah, and there was one fight that happened just before that one, next to the Baron buff, where I thought that Snake may have been coming back into the game. They were waiting for the Void Star from Flandre to be completed here, and they had the Blasting one, so 1800 gold away from the purchase, and they had a 1-for-2 trade where Flandre was actually in the back line freely hitting, whereas the rest of the game was Flandre in the front line. And you mentioned that he might be the one you want to hit. That's partly correct, of course. What it actually felt like to me is that, you know, compositionally, Snake wanted to be the ones engaging. They wanted to have a Galio ultimate going on a Camille engaging or going on an Alistar going forwards. That way they are freed up to deal damage in the backline. But because they were losing the game, that was not freely accessible for them, and suddenly their composition did start to crumble under the pressure that OMG had.
I mean, we didn't even see that one time, you know, like we saw it in Champion Select, and we're like, hey, it's the guided missile composition. You got the Camille, and then you throw the Galio in on top, and I don't think we even saw that a single time in the game. I think it was actually OMG finding the fights every single time. they were the ones engaging or finding the pick. Our MVP will go over to Chuan P. So congratulations on that misfortune play.
Can confirm that is his face as well. So we get the MVP correct this time. 8-1-6.
And his champion.
Had a very good showing. Of course, a lot of the focus from 5 was on keeping him alive. Even in that replay we just saw with 4 big brutish tanks standing in front of him, the Black Shield still went on the misfortune to make sure that the ultimate was freely secured and that he was able to deal the damage that he very successfully dealt. 36% is a high number.
I feel like OMG only draft highly photogenic players. You know, I feel like there's just part of the MO.
Have you seen
like,
what their coach is wearing?
Yeah, no, I saw him.
Swag.
It's just like, can you be part of a boy band? If yes, get on stage. I mean, did you saw the opening ceremony of the Chengdu Stadium, right? They literally had a C-pop concert. It was great. I loved it.
The OG OMG players doing some singing.
I know, it's great. And he had the new players as well.
That was
they came out on stage.
I
I actually want to go home and rewatch that right now. If you haven't seen it, you should definitely check out the opening ceremony of Chengdu. I think all the opening ceremonies so far have actually been fantastic.
WE's was amazing. They had fireworks at the castle.
They did, yeah. That was
cool.
super cool. Again, just go rewatch all of those. You can do it in our break because we're about to take a short one.
不去躲避那些责任和难题 ，OMG 的救赎由我们亲手完成。